Hello and welcome to the Infinite Wisdom Writing Room. Today we have Kristen Vallis, who is going to share with us her intuitive insights for the month of February, and also Lucy Haskins. Both are authors that I've worked with for quite a long time. So I am so delighted for both of you to be here, and we're going to rock and roll this. I love Kristen's insights. She is an astronumerologist. Yeah, astronumerologist. I was going to say numerologist, astronumerologist, excuse me. Kristen is an astronumerologist, and I have listened to her insights for I don't know how many years, 6 years maybe, and she is so gifted in this area. So I want to turn this over to Kristen and share with us what you see as your insights and what you see coming for us and what we should be aware of at this point in the new year.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Pamela. I really appreciate that. This is going to be the biggest month of the year, February, hands down. So the good news is we're getting it out of the way early. The bad news is we didn't get much time to prepare before it's like, whoa, it's here. But maybe that's good news too. So we have a lot going on this month. I'll start a little bit with the numerology first, and then we can move into some of the astrology because it all works together. So numerology, first of all, we're in a one energy year. That is the time for new beginnings. It's time for being very intentional with everything that we do. It's time for taking action. It's a very physical number. January saw us doing a lot of action, but also getting very scattered. That's going to magnify this month, the scatteredness, because this month is a three energy month, and three can bring in that scattered energy. So we're going to have to be even more diligent about staying focused and being very intentional with every action we take. There's going to be a lot of distractions. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening in the collective, worldwide that's coming out, more things being exposed, revealed, shocking news, things like that. So, and that's going to continue all year, but I think this month is going to be pretty big for that because we'll talk about why in a minute. But there's going to be a lot going on with that. And then there'll be a lot going on for us individually, personally as well. It is a huge month of growth and transformation. So just to be aware of that, from a numerology standpoint, you've got the one and the three working together, the one energy year, the three energy month. The three is going to amplify everything that we think, do, and say. So we want to make sure that, again, we're being very conscious and very intentional. Otherwise, you're going to be amplifying things you don't want, and they're going to manifest at super warp speed because of all the energies that are happening this month. So be very, very aware of that. And we started this month with the Jack of Spades, which is also another branch of numerology, which is often called Egyptian or Book of Life, where it deals with the 52 playing cards. We started this month yesterday with the Jack of Spades. The Jack of Spades asks us to notice where we're telling ourselves stories that are not serving us anymore. So really looking at our belief systems, our repetitive thoughts, and our repetitive patterns so that we can see where are we, living in stories over and over and over again and keep recreating the same types of scenarios for ourselves where it's not working, it's not serving us. And we'll be doing this from a collective level and also from a individual standpoint. So self-reflection is really important right now, especially during this first piece of the month where we're in the spade suit, which will take us through, I believe, Wednesday the 11th, I think is the Ace of Spades. So then Thursday the 12th, we move into the diamonds. So I'm doing this all off my top of my head. So I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. But the spades are really when we want to do that heavy spiritual work. We'll feel drawn to doing that anyway. Um, but we're also really wanting to reflect and look within. That doesn't mean that you don't take action. You do. We're still needing to take a lot of intuitive action right now, very intentional, focused action. Do not listen to your head, listen to your heart. Follow your intuition, follow your internal guidance system, because that will steer you in the right direction, even if it doesn't make sense to you, because that's really key. Sometimes you'll be like, why am I feeling drawn to doing this? That doesn't make sense. I had this planned, I had that planned, this was where I was headed. But you're probably going to need to make many course corrections this month. And the energy will steer you, but you don't want to be pushed by the energy. You want to be very intentional in how you navigate it. So, in other words, if you were like white river rafting, you obviously want to flow with the water and with the rapids, but you also have an intention of where you want to go. You don't want it to just take you wherever. So, you do have to. Paddle, you do have to steer, you do have to navigate all of the twists and turns and the unexpected surprises so that you can actually get to where you're going. And that's kind of what this month is going to be like. So, I hope you like White River rafting, because if you do, this month is for you. Um, so why is there so much big energy this month? Because we're walking into eclipse season. We're also having some outer planetary shifts. Uranus is moving direct, and that is a big shift. So, even what's going on right now with technology, electricity, there's all kinds of stuff here where I am in Florida today because of the extreme cold weather, that's causing electrical outages and power surges and things like that. That's all that Uranus shifting into direct mode. So that's a big shift. And that is, the Uranus is the planet also that rules the unexpected. It rules the unknown. It rules miracles, if you are willing to allow them in. So I highly recommend you are, because that is an opportunity for us, but you need to be flexible when Uranus is at play. And when it makes a big shift like this, it's going to be very pronounced. So, that is one key thing that's happening right now, is that shift is happening. The other key thing that's happening right now is that we just had the full moon yesterday in Leo. It was a very supportive full moon, which is really nice given what we're walking into this month. And in that respect, um, it also kicked off eclipse season. So in 2 weeks with our new moon, we will have our first eclipse. And we'll be it'll be pretty emotional eclipse. It's going to be um, both of these eclipses this season. So there's one in February. I believe it's the 17th. Again, I'm doing this all off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's the 17th. And then there's another one 2 weeks later with the full moon in early March, which we can talk about for the March forecast. But we are going to be we are going to be facing some big, big energies this eclipse season. Like I said, this month is the biggest month of the year. So expect a lot of shifts, changes, transformations. You would have to look at your individual astrological chart to see how this eclipse is directly affecting you, this pair of eclipses. But know that overall, there's going to be a lot of focus on um, personal growth, transformation, and a lot of changes happening. So whatever's setting up right now at this full moon, this first eclipse in later this month is going to have to do with that. So notice what's going on around you right now. Notice what's going on in your life right now, because that's going to be a big focus in 2 weeks during the eclipse. And you have between now and then to prepare for that. So um, notice the themes and then set your intentions of where you want to head, but listen so closely to your soul guidance, to your intuition, and take those action steps. They might be small. They might be small action steps, but a small action step today, and then another small one tomorrow, and another small one the next day, they add up. And they will help prepare you for the eclipses that are coming so that you're set up to succeed, because that is the ultimate goal of the eclipses. And I think that's one of the things that I want to stress the most. And I read something the other day that I just loved from one of my favorite numerologists and astrologists, Elizabeth Peru. And she said, think of the eclipses as your friend. And I thought that's really great because I know that a lot of us, and myself included, when we see these big energies coming, can tense up, we can freeze, we can, get really anxious, like, oh, I have to have all my ducks in a row, or, I'm going to be pummeled by this energy. And I have had that happen to me before, but I think in part because I believed that that's what would happen. So, I think that really shifting our consciousness around what we're expecting and expecting the best instead of being anxious and worried about what this is going to dig up and unearth and all of that, because eclipses are always here to move us forward faster. So it's like, if you have a car with a turbo button, it's when you get the eclipse seasons, it's like when you press that turbo, right? You just get that oomph forward. And that's what the eclipses do for us. They don't mess around. And if you are messing around, if you're not listening to your intuition, if you're not following those nudges, you might get a little blindsided by what hits at the eclipses. But you're here right now listening to this, so I don't think that's you. If you're tuned into this, you're tuned in enough that you're going to be able to navigate this with more grace and ease than the general population. And that's the good news. And also that because of that, you are able to be more compassionate and more supportive of others around you who may not be as tuned in. And that's part of your, I don't want to say your job, but part of why you're here is to help other people navigate this stuff. So I think that with all of that going on, that's not the end of it. There's also a Mercury retrograde coming. So we'll be in the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde in the by I think the end of next week or early the week following. So um, we've got that Mercury retrograde coming too, but remember, that's here to help us overhaul our communication expertise, and we're writers. So this is a good thing. Mercury retrogrades are actually really good for us because it makes us better writers. It makes us better communicators. And, we should always welcome them in with open arms, even though, you have to make sure you back up your work as you're writing and all of that, because you could lose it, and that's the downside of the retrograde is the tech stuff. But as long as you're smart about it, it's generally speaking, it's a really great opportunity to really fine tune your communication skills and your writing skills. So I want to pause here and because I love to do this in conversation and I just dumped so much stuff all at once. So I want to pause and just ask like Pamela, Lucy, do you have any comments, questions, or anything you'd like to say about what I've shared so far?
Absolutely. Those are really great analogies. I was on mute when I said that the whitewater rafting analogy was superb. I mean, it really lets us see how that we have that it's up to us that we are the vessel and we need to take action and not just let it steer randomly around.
Yeah.
Right. And then same with when you talked about the 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 people who are aware, so they're open to the knowledge because knowledge is power, and when we know what's coming, and like with the full moon, the new moon, the retrogrades, the and do those, okay, that's my a question that I'll just put in here as a seed, is the Mercury retrograde and the other retrograde, not retrograde, there's something overlapped for me when you were talking. It was like we have Mercury retrograde starting, and then there's the eclipse. So there's an overlap on that. So just a point.
Yeah, everything's kind of overlapping. So just to clarify, so eclipse season is beginning right now. We have the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde actually begins February 12th. I got some dates here in front of me now. So that is a 2 week lead into Mercury retrograde. That's when you want to start noticing what themes are cropping up around your communications. And then um, the first eclipse is February 17th. That is also the start of Chinese New Year. So be mindful of that. It's a big, big eclipse because of that, because it's starting that new year. It's the year of the fire horse. If you can imagine or visualize a horse on fire and what it might do, it's going to move very fast. So we're not in that fire horse year yet. We can feel it coming in, but we're still in that year of the snake. Um, so it will start on February 17th. However, if you are shifting around feng shui remedies in your home, that does not wait for Chinese New Year. That is on the solar New Year, which is February 4th and 5th. So this week is when you would want to move around your remedies if you do that kind of energy balancing in your home. I used to do feng shui consulting and Chinese astrology, so I used to do the charts and everything. So I know a little bit more about this than maybe your average astronumerologist. So that's happening. And then once we hit that eclipse on February 17th, we have a 2 week eclipse doorway of opportunity where we have accelerated manifesting capabilities. So really start to think right now, what do I want to use that doorway for to my advantage? If you're, finalizing a book, or if you're, starting a new project, or you want to launch a Substack account, or whatever it is you're going to do, like what big action do you want to take to help move yourself forward? Maybe it has nothing to do with your writing. Maybe it has to do with your health. Maybe it has to do with, a relationship. Maybe it has to do with finances. But whatever it is your theme is, how can you strategically place yourself so that you can make the most of that window, that 2 week window between eclipses? Because that is really powerful, and that lasts till March 2nd when the next eclipse hits. So it's a really super powerful manifesting time. And then the Mercury retrograde actually begins February 25th, 26th, depending on where you live. And there's some other big things going on too. So we have Uranus direct happening this week. We're also halfway between solstice and equinox this week. So this is like a halfway point for that, showing us that we're, mid-season, and it's more of a rebalancing period this week because of that. Then we also have Saturn moving back into Aries. That's another big planetary move that's going to affect us till 2028. So that is happening February 13th to 14th, again, depending on where you live and what time zone you're in. And then The other big thing going on is the Aquarian stellium, which we are in right now. We've got the rest of this week that we're going to be in that energy. So really utilizing that energy, which, we're feeling this pull to greater freedom because Aquarians love freedom, right? They're unconventional. They're risk takers. They, love to dabble because anything Aquarian is also anything Uranus. So we talked about Uranus already, like because Uranus rules Aquarius. So you have, the unconventional, the miracles, the unknown, all of that, being willing to venture in, being flexible, and being independent, right? Aquarians are very independent. They are not caught up in codependence. They're not caught up in attachment. They're very detached. And so, really tapping into that to move your life forward right now. Um, what else? What else? After the Aquarian stellium, we're going to move into the Piscean stellium and things are going to get real emotional. So, just be forewarned, that's coming as well. And the one thing I want to say about this month and this year as a whole, and I think I talked about this in January as well, emotional mastery is going to be very, very important this year. It's not going to be like something you can say you have and you're just ahead of the game. It's going to be a necessity, almost like for survival. We need to be able to feel and process our emotions and not get stuck in them, but not also, we don't want to bypass them either, because then they are stuck somewhere. They're stuck in your body somewhere. So being really mindful about that. And if you don't know how to work with your emotions in a masterful way yet, talk to me because I'm going to be helping people to learn how to do that this year. And especially soon coming up, I'm going to be starting a course to help people do that has been really successful in the past. I've had people with, extreme anxiety and depression and PTSD, all kinds of emotional issues that have really had a lot of success with this work. So, or if not me, seek something else out. But you need to find a way to really master your emotions, to really know how to process and move them through you as quickly as possible, because they're going to be hitting at an increasing rate as the year progresses, but you're really going to start feeling it this month. So if you don't have a tool or tools to do that yet, you're going to need to get some right away.
And I know that I was going to suggest too that people seek you out for, being able to plan what's coming for them and how to
Yes.
use the energies.
Yeah.
This month, next month, for the year, you do those forecasts with people. And then also I
Yeah.
know that you're doing an emotional mastery course that we've all been through, and it is brilliant. It is so helpful. All
Yeah.
of the different phases that you go through, it's just brings such clarity to what comes up for us and a process to be able to navigate that. Because I remember when I was doing that work and I had just started dating someone. So of course stuff comes up with a new person in your life. And I would we live in the same building. So I would come down to my apartment and I would journal about why I was triggered. And it brought such clarity, and it also gave me a voice in that relationship when something came up. And like
Yeah.
a great example that I think I've shared with you before, both of you, is that he would jokingly say, well, if anything goes wrong, I'll just blame you. And I had a real trigger around blame because I'm a middle child and I got blamed for everything because I was a little rebel. And of course, I got in trouble, but so rightly so that I got blamed. But blame was a big energy trigger for me. And when I recognized that and I went back to him and said, I know you're just joking, but I need to tell you that this is one of my triggers, and it cleared it. We've been friends for 7 years and he doesn't do that anymore. But it's only because I did that work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so powerful, right? But so many people don't know how to do that. They don't have tools for that, and it's critical this year because of where we are in our consciousness shift as a collective. And then also on individual levels, generally the people in this group are already on that higher consciousness journey. Um, but even collectively, we're advancing so quickly. And in fact, this month, these eclipses and all of these planetary shifts are going to wake more people up. So there will be more people that are kind of really confused and possibly in shock and possibly in crisis because of their awakenings happening this month. So they're going to need help. And your books, your writing, your gifts that you have to share are going to be really needed. So whatever it is that you do, if you have other modalities as well as writing that you work with, then, I would encourage you to make yourself as visible as possible because people are going to need help. They're going to need help. Yeah.
Yeah, and this writing room and us having these conversations is part of that to open because they're new this year, and and so this is going to help people as well to become aware of what's going on internally and being able to tap into a resource like this. And whether it's this room or another room, it is just it's important for people to recognize that they're not alone, that there are other people who are going through the same things, and that are then there's
Yes.
other people who are guides for this
Yes.
shift in consciousness, right? That's what Beyond the
Yeah.
Shift is all about. It's about the shift in consciousness, and so we're here to help people to do that. So thanks. Christy,
Exactly.
do you want to chime in?
Yeah. What you were just talking lately just made me realize that how long I had been blaming myself for things that were going out. I would take the blame and find fault within myself. And I'm thinking with all these people awakening and being, cast into all the chaos and confusion and everything and trying to think what's going on, they will that a lot of them will probably be like me, like, what did I do wrong? What am I doing? Why?
Mhm.
What's happening here? And it's so nice to have an explanation for what's going on outside so we can reduce or eliminate that aspect of finding fault with ourselves and making sense
Yes.
of what's going on. So thank you. It's very valuable work. I've been taking so many notes. I can't believe it.
Thank you, Lucy. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about what I do because it does really help. It really helps to be able to just make some sense of things you know, um, preparing for things as well if you can, but even just to have that extra ability to make some sense of what's going on, really, I find very helpful, and I know my clients find it very helpful in healing. Um, it's great for planning once, you move beyond the healing piece, but yeah, it just really helps. And, one of the things I wanted to share too about this energy with the 3 and the 1 this month. And also, I had mentioned that the month started with the Jack of Spades with the storytelling. It ends with the 10 of Clubs, which their first karma card is the Jack of Spades. So there's a whole element of that storytelling, and the 10 of Clubs also can get really caught up in their mind with mental spinning. So, and then the 3 energy is very mental energy and it's very creative. If you look at all these layers together, what it means is physically, we're going to have to be very mindful of our bodies and our health. And what you're creating in your body, you're doing through your mind. You're doing through your thinking, you're doing through anxiety thinking, you're doing through if you're experiencing disease or imbalance in your body, the good news is about that it's easy to shift it once you're aware of it. So you can use affirmations, meditations, positive self-talk, taking control of your body and saying, hey, I'm not going to be run by you. I'm not going to be a slave to you and your responses. And you can do it in a way that's loving and kind and gentle, but also like, hey, let's work together here. Because really what you're creating, it's all coming in through your mind first, with this type of energy. So to be very conscious of that, because this whole year is a very physical year. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on with the body. But also when we're making these huge consciousness expansions, like we are going to be doing this month, the body is the densest part of our experience here on planet Earth in terms of energy. So energetically, it's very dense. And it takes the physical body longer to catch up with these energetic expansions, these consciousness expansions, than it does for, say, your spiritual body, your emotional and mental bodies. But your physical body takes longer to make the adjustment. And you can experience things like ascension symptoms that people talk about, but it could go beyond that. This is a big, big, huge energy we're going through this month. So, if you do experience physical symptoms and they're chronic and, seek some medical attention and try and work with practitioners that understand energies as much as possible, because they're going to be able to help you navigate the mental component of what you're experiencing in your body, the mental emotional component. And there will be that component that's driving whatever happens to you. And in fact, just last week, I was navigating something like that myself. And it was an old repeating injury in my arm. I lost use of my right arm. And I was panicking because in the past, when this has happened to me, I have become totally disabled for some time, could even possibly multiple years. I mean, it spread throughout my body. It, was really, really bad. So I was freaking out until I was reminded by a wonderful practitioner that I went to that this isn't the same as it was before. I have a different diet now. I have a different consciousness level. I have more tools. I can navigate this now and I don't need to let my body run myself. And you know what? My arm's already better. And I wouldn't have thought that was possible 2 weeks ago when this first started. So, you know, but I used my tools. I started some new tools and they worked, So we do have power over our physical responses to things if we are willing to approach it from a whole mind, body, emotion, spiritual perspective. So that's going to be really important this month as well. And I see Krista just joined us too. Hi. So, Krista, we're having more of like a conversation here. So if you hear anything that you want to, pop in and comment on or ask questions, please feel free to do so. And I am going to stop and pause for that.
Oh, I'm feeling an earache today, so maybe that's the energy.
We're definitely navigating the shift from one month to the next, and then you'll want to go back and listen to everything I talked about earlier about what's going on with the big energies this month, because there is a lot. So you could be starting to feel that coming in. One of the things I want to leave you guys with is the mantra, the eclipses are my friends. Just say that to yourself, post it everywhere repeatedly, because I really think that will help us not fear what's coming and embrace the energy instead, which will dramatically improve your experience of it. So I highly recommend using that as your mantra this month for sure.
Thanks. Well, and doesn't it also go with the retrogrades are our friend too, because
That's right.
we're thinking about, oh, it's Mercury retrograde, like everything, we turned on the call today and my other computer, the screen was black. So it's like, oh, quickly, let me switch to my other laptop. Luckily, I have a second laptop. And, so that's the technology, right? And it's like, we think, oh, we come in, not that we're kind of, what did you say? We're at the foreshadowing part of Mercury retrograde. or is
The
that?
pre-shadow starts next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but here we are in, the new energy month that is like it's a three energy, and that's mental and that's communication. No, it's not communication. It's mental and amplification, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, okay, well, things happen, right? And but it is so valuable to have these insights into the year, the day, the month, and know that we get to use this knowledge to our advantage and be able to, because we're aware of it, we get to go, okay, so what am I going to do with that? And I love that question that you asked about coming into the the Chinese New Year and the fire horse energy. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
what do I want to use that door or that window for? Right. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a couple of weeks where we can prepare, as you said, and that is really exciting to know. And now it's time to take action to do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
so yeah, because that's, we don't move forward with just sitting still.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Sitting still is important as well because that gives us the information we need to know what to take action on.
Right.
But we do have to take action on those intuitive nudges, and you can't just meditate and do nothing, right?
I
So
mean,
yeah, absolutely. There has to be a balance of both.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
I teach that we need stillness for writing,
The
right?
other thing that I, want to point out is something about the three energy. The three can be very playful, it can be very joyful, and it can be really, really funny. Threes love comedy, they love humor. And so having a sense of humor this month about everything is going to be very helpful and very aligned. Um, Also, with that one energy, I would say, well, and both of them, because the three is going to amplify what you do with the one. Getting into a place of gratitude every day throughout your day, it's not about just writing a gratitude list in the morning or saying one thing you're grateful for. It's about taking multiple pauses throughout the day and just close your eyes for just even a moment and think of one thing you're grateful for in that moment, so that you can get yourself in the habit of being in gratitude all the time. Because the more you can be in gratitude with this one energy, the better it's going to work for you. But especially this month, it's going to amplify. So, if think about a problem that maybe, or I hate to use the word problem, a challenge that you might be facing right now, in your life. And, how can you shift into gratitude around the things that you do have? Usually challenges are about lack. You lack something, right? So the remedy to that is gratitude for what you already have and gratitude for what you know is coming and you trust is coming, right? So you can do both. Be grateful for the present moment and what you have. Be grateful in advance for what you're creating. I think both of those are powerful tools and they're different the way they work. And they're both going to be very useful this month. So, I highly recommend, really making gratitude part of your every moment existence as much as you possibly can. It's going to serve you very well for this year and moving forward. Because once you make that a habit, it's just going to stay with you after that. And watch how much your life transforms. Watch how much more money you receive when you're grateful and you've got your sense of humor. Money loves gratitude. Money loves fun. Money loves laughter, right? So, like, especially if you're struggling in that area or in anything, you just want to attract more readers, want to attract more clients. You want to, whatever it is that you're feeling that you have a lack of, that will help you attract it, right? Those energies are very positive. Laughter is very powerful, high vibration energy. So, all of those things, gratitude, love, and laughter, really, really high vibe energies that will attract what you want. So, and it's really about perspective. It's really about keeping your mind expanded. We were talking about that Uranus energy. It's really about keeping your mind expanded into what's possible. Even with the Saturn move into Aries, okay, Saturn's usually more restrictive, but it's there to help us keep some structure, right? In Aries, Aries is about the spring, the birth, the new. It's about exploring new things, right? And the one energy is about exploring new things. It's about pioneering. That pioneering energy is asking us to really tap into what's possible. There's infinite possibilities for everything. So where are we caught up in our mind, caught up in our stories about the caps, the limits that we place on things? Saturn is the one that limits, right? And so you think Saturn in Aries, okay, it's going to limit, but what it's doing is it's trying to help us to understand, where are we limiting ourselves? Where are we putting caps on ourselves and what we can experience? And really examining that mental, emotional reactions when you get triggered this month. Like, really dive into those triggers and go, okay, what's really underneath this? What belief is really underneath this? Because that's going to help you understand where you're keeping yourself small, where you're selling yourself short, where you're keeping yourself trapped in the same patterns all the time. It's going to help you grow. It's going to help you expand. It's going to help you move forward and upward, which is what we all want, right?
Right. And so does it allow, so this energy, um, it's bringing focus, right? So the Saturn energy is getting us to focus on what's important, where we see our limitations and what it is that we truly desire. But the other thing that I wanted to mention too, that when you were talking about gratitude, it's for me, there are so many times during the day when I go into gratitude and I feel it bubbling in my body. Like, it is just such
That's great.
and then that just makes me happy, right? Because it's like,
Right.
I know that I'm in alignment in
Yeah.
that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I want more moments like that. And it's
More, yes.
the feeling of it, right? But it starts with the essence of the gratitude of, I live in a beautiful place and I look at the lake, and every morning at night I close my curtains just so in the morning I can open my curtains and look at the view with the water and the mountains and just be so grateful. And I feel that every single morning as soon as I wake up. Right. So
Now, here's a fun game too, because the 3 energy can, in the low side, tend toward the negative thinking. So to catch yourself, play a game with yourself to catch yourself when you're having a negative thought or you speak something that's negative, catch yourself and reframe it. But, so what if, let's say I'm driving and this person gets in front of me and they're not moving, and I'm, grumbling about it or whatever, or maybe more than grumbling. But what if you catch yourself doing that and you tell yourself, what if this person is saving me from getting into an accident because they're slowing me down? What if there's a reason? Maybe they're preventing me from getting a ticket,
Yeah,
there's a
I
cop ahead
actually
or
use
something.
that, especially if I see that traffic is held up by a traffic accident or something. I'm like, well, good thing that that wasn't me. So,
Exactly. But I love the what if game to phrase questions to myself when I'm catching myself in a negative thought pattern or negative expression. Well, what if that wasn't true? What if it was this instead? Really questioning, because a lot of times what we're criticizing or what we're judging as bad, or, just not what we want, is because of beliefs that we have that aren't serving us. Because when you're judging and you're criticizing, you're not happy. You're not happy. You're not in gratitude. You're not in joy. You're not in laughter. You're not in all these high vibrational experiences. You're not in peace, right? You're in a lower energy center when you do that. So playing these games and making it fun, especially in the 3 energy, I think will really serve this month, and make a habit of it and use it going forward, just really catch yourself. But what if? What if what I'm thinking is actually not true? Because it's really a perspective and you can shift perspectives into anything you want. So it's really about what do you want to create, but dialing it down into these smaller little games that we can play with ourselves and with our mind to make it fun. And your inner child is going to appreciate that too, just playing games around this stuff. Like, what if, or, I like the games too, 100 ways something can come. So if you're in that negativity and you're in a state of lack and you need, let's say it's around money, you want more money or you're feeling like you don't have enough or you don't have enough time or whatever it is, you can play a game and list 100 ways that whatever it is you think you lack, money, time, love, whatever, could come to you. And it is phenomenal how that shifts things. I mean, it's a powerful, powerful mind shifter. It opens your mind to greater perspectives. This is usually something I do with a 5 energy, but I feel like this month, because we're being asked to expand so much in consciousness, like the 5 would have us do, that these tools are going to be really important this month and really helpful to everyone.
And both of these, the what if game and the 100 ways, are both, you go deeper in that with the emotional mastery course that you teach, right? So it's
I do.
really powerful.
I do. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's going to be happening this month, from a numerology standpoint, is we'll be moving from our collective Mercury season into our collective Venus season. So traditionally, you'd be going from more of a mental focus into a more emotional one, but the mental energy is going to be very heavy this month still because of that 3. However, those emotions are going to ramp up, like I said, and, more mid to end of the month, you're going to be feeling that pretty strong. And it's going to coincide with Pisces season, the eclipses, all of these different moves, Saturn into Aries. Okay, Saturn in Aries in the low side, anything in Aries in the low side, Aries is going to be really immature, especially emotionally. There's going to be tantrums, things like that. So you may see people acting that way, or you may catch yourself doing that. So that's really about, again, wanting to master those emotions and finding a better way to express yourself, the Mercury retrograde, than throwing a tantrum or having an emotional outburst, right? So, see how all these things layer and overlap, like and this is the universe working for us. Bringing all this stuff up at once can be challenging, but it also creates the greatest growth for us. So,
yeah, and I think we're going to see enormous growth this year for all of us who are, just for everyone. It's so enlightening. I feel really good about this year and the energies that we're coming into, and just having someone like you in our community to be able to express this and bring this forward is, so valuable. So I really appreciate you doing that. Does anybody have any questions, insights, anything you'd like to share? Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome.
Not quite finished yet, but everybody else.
I just wanted to say I am so glad that I finished Married Widow and we're just getting it out the door, because in my mind the hard work is done and now I'm reaping the rewards of it, because it seems the timing is perfect for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I reformatted it, and now I'm going through with a fine-tooth comb on the proofreading side of it. So that'll be, so we have a new launch date for that, which is March the 12th, 2 days before your birthday, right?
Right. Or earlier.
Yeah. Depending on how quickly we move through this. But
yeah.
So anyway, it's exciting to have that wrapped
Maybe
up.
Maybe you'll launch it in the eclipse window.
That's what I was thinking, maybe, because that it was 217 to 32 was the window, I think.
Yes.
So I think we might be able to do that, but I'm not going to push it because that was one of the huge lessons I had was when the formatting issue came up, I went berserko with thinking I had to take care of it all. It was my responsibility, just totally ignoring Pamela and the fact that she's the expert. But somehow I had to have my hands on the book and correct it all. And it took me, well, it only took me a night. And the next morning I was thinking, what the heck?
Yeah.
And so, that was a huge wake up moment. So, it's amazing how these have been coming up without recognizing what they are. But I think Pamela and I both lived through it. So, and gained a lot of understanding, I think.
Well, it's so interesting because we have the same ruling number. So,
yeah, fives. Yeah.
So that was interesting in itself. But
yeah.
So what was that window again? We're gonna look for that in the pub schedule.
2/18 to March 2nd.
2/18. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
we'll see. Yeah. Divine timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You trust the intuitive nudges, because the thing is, you can make all the plans you want right now and do all the preparation you want. And in my experience, the eclipses are still going to turn things upside down. So, just be willing to be flexible and flow with it, and make adjustments as needed because things will shift, they will change. You'll be surprised by things. There's a lot of surprise energy in the air this month. So yeah. And just expect miracles.
I was thinking,
good energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it will turn the losses into wins.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And ultimately it will, even if, and there could be a lot of this going on this month, is that things may pop up, things may happen that don't seem really good at the onset, but trust that it will in hindsight. In hindsight, you'll be able to go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm so glad that happened. But when it's happening, it can be challenging when it doesn't look so good. Trust is going to be a big theme this month, to really trust what's occurring is in your best and highest good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean to give all your power away and not do anything. But as you're doing your things, as you're following the intuitive nudges and things pop up that maybe aren't the way you thought they would look, trust that it's the way it needs to look to get where you want to go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Any last words from anyone? This has been so valuable. Thank you, Kristen.
And that was all with no prep.
I know, just off the cuff.
Just off the cuff, channeling whatever wanted to come through for the group, and
you are so precious. It's
you.
like, I'm astounded that you could fill an hour just with such dense material and so valuable, just doing it. Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you. You're so precious.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure. Yeah, I could go for hours, so it's a good thing we have a time limit because I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed either, So, yeah. But it's the biggest month of the year, so, know that after this, it's all going to be not a breeze, but definitely this will be the most challenging month. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, Lucy and Krista, for joining us. And I think I'm going to look at the replay and I will pull out some pieces and I'll put it up on my YouTube channel for some good shorts.
Yay, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Let's reach as many people as we can to get the word out.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Pamela, for having me again, and it's great to see you guys.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.